Good morning, everybody. Good morning, my children. That's a pretty smiley, Amani. Lorea's got one. Mine, she got one too. We're gonna learn how Jesus teaches me to always come back home. Always, always. You might not know what this means right now, but I'm going to teach you a lesson that's going to show you that no matter what happens in your life, you can always come back home to Jesus. You can always come back home. If somebody's watching me today and you've been away from Jesus a long time, I want you to listen to this lesson, and I want you to understand that He wants you to come back home. And He's always ready for you to come back home. You ready? What is it, Emily?
I was dreaming about Jesus.
Yes? What did you dream about him? Did you see him in your dream? What did he look like?
He had this thing on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he was going up to heaven.
Oh, wow. So that was probably when he left to go up to sit by the right hand of the Father to pray for us. So that's wonderful. Okay, today we're going to study about a boy, a man that had two sons. And one of the sons, the younger one, he did not like staying at home and working on the farm. He didn't want to do it anymore. So he said, Father, give me the portion of goods that are mine. Give me what I'm going to get when you die, my inheritance. And so the father, he did what he asked. He gave him his inheritance, and off he went, away from home. See? He was big like Bill. You know, Bill's almost grown. He can almost go and leave home. He might have been in his 20s.
Maybe it was maybe he was like 15.
No, I don't think he was that young. I don't think the father would have given him that liberty to do that. So anyhow, he left home. Well, he went out to the world, and he started drinking and partying and playing around with all the people that all they wanted to do all day long was just to party. He didn't have to work anymore. He didn't have to go out in the field and work. All he wanted to do was just have a good time. Oh, I'm just going to have a good time every day of my life from now on. I'm tired of working on the farm. I'm going to have a great time. So he went out there and ate, drank, and was married. And he spent all of his money. Didn't take him long. He spent all of his money.
About maybe a month.
Oh, I don't know. It's according to how much money it was, but he spent it all. Okay? When he got all of his money spent, guess where all of his friends were? They didn't care about him when he didn't have any money.
They took his house.
Well, he didn't have a house. He just went out and started partying. And he didn't have any money to rent a place to live then. So he went out in the country and he joined himself to a man that had hogs. Look, you know what a hog is? He had hogs. And you know what the man got him to do? To feed his hogs. Feed his hogs. That's his job, to feed his hogs. He didn't have a place to lie down and rest. He didn't have a place to get bathed and cleaned up. All he did was feed the hogs, and he didn't get enough to eat that he wanted to eat what the hogs were eating. He was going to eat the hogs' food. He was going to eat the hogs' food. So he's sitting out there with the hogs. Have you ever smelled a hog? You know what a hog pen smells like? Ooh, it's stinky.
Well,
When we were kids, we had a hog pen. And you get up any place near it, you went, ugh. You backed off because it smelled bad. It was bad. And when it would rain, and then inside the pen would just be all mud, and those hogs, they just wallow in that mud because they like wallowing in the mud. And that's what he was doing. He was tending to these hogs that were, whoa, it smelled awful there. And he didn't have much to eat because all he could eat was what they fed the hogs. I don't know if he made any money at all to feed the hogs, but there he was, feeding the hogs. Quit doing all that and pay attention, okay? You wouldn't want me to send you out to feed the hogs, would you? I wouldn't do it anyway. But I'm just saying, you got to be careful about paying attention in Sunday school, right? Right. Okay, so what was he doing? Nehemiah, let's see if you paid attention. What was he doing? No, what did he do? What was he doing? Feeding the hogs is right. You like to feed the hogs? You would? Even though they were stinky? You don't want to feed the hogs. Would you like to? Lorea, would you like to feed the hogs?
They were babies.
No, these are hogs. They're not pigs. Hogs.
Never mind.
They were hogs.
Maybe. Maybe.
Well, anyhow, he fed the hogs. And while he's out there, all of a sudden, he came to himself. It was like, wait a minute. He had a moment of actually clear thinking. Probably he'd been drunk and just in terrible shape back there when he went to the, went out and partied all day long. Where is it? Thank you, honey. I didn't know where it was. He was probably, couldn't think straight. Okay, so he couldn't think straight while he was doing all that partying. Finally, when he got out there with the hogs and realized, this place stinks. I got to sleep out here, and all I get to eat is what they're eating. And he came to himself. That means he began to think straight. And he thought, my father's servants are doing better than I'm doing. They get good food to eat. They have a nice place to sleep. And they don't have to stink like this. I think I'm going to go back home. Was that a good thought? I think I'll go back home. Well, now, wait a minute. If he went back home, how does he know that his father and his brother would be glad to see him? He really didn't know. He just thought, I'm going to go back. Here's what he said. I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell my father, make me one of your hired servants. He'd have a better job than this, wouldn't he? Make me one of your hired servants. Let me make the beds up. Let me sweep the floor. Let me work out in your fields. Let me do anything. Just feed me and give me a good place to sleep and let me get cleaned up. So that's what he was thinking. My father's a good man. He'll do that. I know he'll at least do that. So guess what he did, Nehemiah? He started heading back home. Jesus teaches me to always come back home. Jesus teaches me to do that. He's teaching you. This is a story Jesus taught. This is a story or a parable that Jesus taught. Okay, so look. He got up from that hog pen and he headed back home. He couldn't get on the train, could he? Mm-mm. Why?
Because, well, back then, the people there had no idea what a train was.
Right. There was no such thing as a train.
They were like,
He couldn't get on a horse. Why?
he didn't have any money.
He didn't have any money. He didn't have a horse. He couldn't get on a donkey. He couldn't get somebody to carry him in a wagon. Nothing he could do but walk home.
They didn't even have sandals.
Walk home. Yeah, looks like nothing on his feet. He's filthy. His hair's not clean. Everything's dirty about him. He decided, I don't care if I stink like a hog, I'm going home. So he headed home. Okay? Now, let's go back to the farm. And let's talk about the daddy. The daddy let his boy go, didn't he? Didn't he? He didn't try to stop him, as far as we know. And his daddy gave him the money. Did he? Gave him the money. Okay. But every day, his daddy was looking down the road. His daddy was looking for something. What was his daddy looking for, Nehemiah?
His son.
You're right. Why was he looking for his son, Amani?
Because he was lost.
Yes, he was way out there lost, and he was afraid for him, wasn't he? There was another reason he was looking for his son, Lorea. What was it?
Because, well, he thought, well, actually,
Why did he go out and look for his son every day, Lorea?
because he loved him.
Yes, because he loved him. He didn't want him to stay gone. He wanted him to come back. Right, Nehemiah? He wanted him to come back. So, I'm going to get you to trade places if you don't quit messing with him. Okay? So I keep attention. Okay. So he walked home, and the daddy is running out there toward the road looking. Looking. Did he know that his son was headed home? No. He looked every day. But one day, he looked. The closer his son got, the more anxious and wonder-filled his daddy was, until his daddy could not contain himself. What do you think he did, Nehemiah? What did he do?
He was trying to look for him.
He saw him. What did he do then? Tell me. Can you think what you would do if you were the dad? What would you do? Shout out? Say, son! Would you do that? Okay. But he did something even more than that. What do you think he did, Amani?
Son.
Right. But let's just say it was your daddy. Look at your daddy. And your daddy was looking for you to come home. And he saw you a long way off. What would your daddy do? He would call you. What else? It's all right. Never mind. What would your daddy do? He's a long way off. What's he going to do? You're walking. You're tired. You're beat down. But you are. What's your daddy going to do? Come here. Come here. Now look at your daddy. Look at your daddy. Okay. You're a long way off from him. Look at him. You're a long way off from him. You're tired. You're all beat down. You're scared too because you don't know if your daddy's going to like you or not when you get back because you're all filthy. You stink like a holly. You're not sure about this thing. What's your daddy going to do? He's way off there. What's he going to do? She said it. Say it again. He's going to do what? He's going to run. Is Daddy going to run? Would you run?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you run for Nehemiah too?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you even run for Lorea and she's not your own child?
Of course.
She'd run. Okay, that's exactly what that daddy did. He ran. He ran and he hugged his son. He was so glad to see him. He ran to meet him. And he said, called his servants, come here! Come here quick! Calling his servants. They're all watching him run. They saw him run. And they're coming quick as they can. He said, go get the best robe. Go get a ring for his hand. Get his shoes for his feet. Go! Go do it! Put on the fatted calf. Get the barbecue in it for me. Because my son that was lost has come home. He wanted to say, make me as one of your hired servants. And he did say it. But his father said, go do it, servants. Go get it ready. My son was lost and is found. So his daddy ran to him and fell on his neck and kissed him. Children, Jesus teaches me and you, all of us, to always come back home. Now, who's at home with y'all? Who's at home?
Daddy and Mommy.
Okay. And soon you're going to have a new baby, right? Coming home. Right? Okay. So, no matter what happens, when you get to be up like Laney and Bill, you may leave home. You may go to college. You may get your own place. But I want you to understand that your daddy and your mama always, Nehemiah, always will welcome you back home. And I'm going to tell you this about Jesus. He told this story, Lorea, put that up. He told this story because he wanted you to know that if you leave Jesus, if you leave God's house, if you quit reading your Bible, if you quit serving the Lord, that he still wants you to come back home. He teaches you that. Jesus teaches you that. Learn it from a little child, Lorea, that you always have a home with Jesus. You always have a home, Amani, with Jesus. And Nehemiah, you always have a home with Jesus. And I wrote on here, always, always, always. I wrote, Jesus teaches me to always come back home, always, always. Never say, I don't want to come back home to Jesus. I want to always come back home. Because this is what God's love is like for you. Tell me about it, Nehemiah. What's God's love like for you? It's like his love for his son, yes. And what if you're stinking? What if you're broke? That means you don't have any money. What if you don't have any shoes anymore? What if your hair's got lice in it and you're just as bad as filthy as you could be? Does your daddy still want you to come home? Always? Yes, ma'am? Always. Lorea, what if you have been in jail? What if you have been in trouble? What if you have lied and stolen money and cheated people and done everything wrong that you could possibly do? Would Jesus, would your father still want you to come home? Would Brother Don want you to come home? So would Jesus want you to come home? Yes. See, Jesus, if you look at the Father here, even though he gave his son a big portion of his money, he still was rich. He still had lots. And he had enough that he could bring this boy back in, give him shoes, get him all cleaned up, let him be a son again, and let him be part of the family again. He had enough to take care of it. And that's the way it is with God. No matter where you've been and no matter what you've done, God has enough. He has what you need. Can God help you to quit stealing, Lorea? Can God help you to quit lying? Can he help you to quit partying and wasting all your money? Can he help you do that? Yes. This Father could help, and he did. So I want you to remember, no matter what you do in your life, Jesus teaches you to always come back home. Okay, there's the bell.
Look at your shoes.